In this video, we're going to listen to what tape saturation sounds like in Harrison Mixbus 32C. Alright, so what we have here before us on the screen is a set of drum tracks, some guitars, bass, vocals, different vocals all over the place. And if we go to our mixer view, we have 12 mixed buses and we have 2 VCA groups. So what I have here is a band group that when I move this fader, the other faders in that group go up and down. And I also have a vocal that goes up and down as well. That controls the background vocals and main vocal and its reverb. All right. So what's cool about Mixbus is this little area right here where it actually has a tape saturation plug-in, if you will, directly in the Mixbus. So when we drive that tape saturation, we can actually hear artifacts that get more compressed and more distorted. So what I want to do is just ease this up all the way on the drums, and let's listen to a drum track, and we can pull it up and see how it changes with more tape saturation. So here we go. Alright, so you heard there at the end the drums were getting more compressed, more distorted, and a lot less headroom for the transients to really poke out. So what I'm going to do now is play the drums again, and I'm going to back off on that drive to where the needle hits around the 0 mark, and we're going to hear how that sounds. Okay, great. So you should be able to hear the punch coming through on the drums, but the needle hitting around that 0 mark should still knock off a little bit of the transient, kind of smooth out things naturally without any compression involved, because the nature of tape is you're actually compressing the signal when you hit it harder, because there's really nowhere else for the signal to go, because the tape is only so wide and can only gather so much information. But in the digital world, we don't have that issue. We can record things with 96K sample rates and even higher, and we can still get a lot of information recorded, but we don't have to worry about the noise floor that tape had or any of its other limitations as far as splicing and editing and stuff like that. So what Mixbus has done here is just added that feature of getting the sound of tape, but without the drawbacks of what tape provided back in the day. So let's go to the bass now, and let's hear what that sounds like. Let's pull the drive all the way down. Alright, great. So now I'm going to pull up the drive and we're going to hear how the sound crunches up a little bit. Alright, very cool. So you can hear how it definitely got more distorted toward the top end of that tape saturation range. But just like the drums, I want to get it to where it's hitting around that 0 mark and then kind of, pull it back a little bit. So that way the transients are still getting smoothed out a little bit, but you're just getting that nice warmth of the tape sound. So let's do that. All right, great. And we are compressing it a little bit on the leveler down here as well. But I also have a bass crush track, so I'm sending basically the bass to both of these buses. So one bus is going to be a cleaner bass, and the other bus is going to be a more distorted, compressed bass. So this is what that sounds like with the drive pulled off a little bit. And I am compressing it down here pretty good. Okay, so we're really going to drive that bass crush bus. And now we're going to play both buses together. And I'm basically just going to blend in the bass crush to where it kind of fills in some of that mid-range. So here we go. Okay, and once you hear that in the mix, you're not going to really distinguish the distortion all that much. It's basically just going to add more mid-range and just more presence overall. So let's play that with the drums. All right, very cool. Now we're going to actually go to the master bus over here. We can see that we have a tape saturation area that we can control. So I'm going to bring the drive all the way down, go ahead and play the drums and bass together, and we're going to drive it up and see what happens to the overall sound. Okay, so it's not getting too crunchy. I could bring up the input trim a little bit if I wanted to. But what I'm looking for on the K system, which is this little box right here, I'm looking for where that meter hits around 0. And if we bring the drive back, we can actually see it hitting above 0 between the 0 and the +4 mark. But as we bring the drive up, it's compressing those transients even more, and we're getting a little less signal. It's staying around more of the 0 mark. So let's do this. Let's actually just play the full guitars with drums, bass, minus the vocal. So we're just going to solo the band VCA. And let's look at the K system and what it's doing. Okay. All right, very cool. So what I noticed there was the more drive that I had on the tape saturation, the less that needle went past the 0 mark. So it's really just kind of squishing everything together and just making it more glued together there. So I want you to experiment with that when you're using your mixes. Don't totally squash the heck out of everything, but you can push it a little bit and just give it that color that tape would naturally give your overall tracks. And yeah, we don't have this feature on individual tracks, but I think on the buses it's plenty. Because once you get your regular mix of the drums or whatever you want, then you're able to process that overall sound with more compression, more EQ, and also more tape saturation. So I am Dr. McFarland. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe down below and click that bell icon so you'll be notified every time I release new content. So thanks guys for watching. I will see you in the next video. Keep rocking.